starting with human nervous system. Now when we talk about nervous system, we basically say it is divided into two. That is central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Central means which is further divided into brain and spinal cord. Peripheral means which is divided into autonomic and voluntary nervous system. This autonomic is further divided into sympathetic nervous system as well as parasympathetic nervous system. These two are antagonistic to each other, means if one is stimulatory in action, the other one is inhibitory in action. So these two take up the work or the responsibility accordingly, right? Moving to the central nervous system in detail. Central nervous system, as the name suggests, it's in the center. बिल्कुल जो हमारी बॉडी का सेंट्रल पोर्शन है, that is the one, and it is hollow, lies on the mid dorsal part along the main axis of the body. It is covered by axial skeleton. हमारा skeleton जो होता है वो इसको cover कर लेता है. And the CNS is further divided into, that we have already done, brain as well as the spinal cord. What is brain? Where is it situated? It is the widest and the uppermost part. Highest coordinating center of the body. And it is situated in a cavity, cavity of the skull in the head region. And the cavity in which it is located, we call that cranium. Situated in a cranial cavity of the skull. Where? In head region. Okay, now coming to this entire structure, that how does the diagram of a human brain, how does the structure of a human brain look like? We have to start and we will make basically like this. Okay, and we will completely divide it into this portion. And we will draw a disc-like structure here so that we can easily differentiate. A prominent structure I'm drawing here. And moving to one part, the another part. This what I am drawing right now is the hind brain. The backside of the brain, hind brain. First we will complete the hind brain itself. It's basically somewhat leaf-like and has this structure. Now moving in front, we all know how to make clouds. We have already done in junior classes. So that is bit going to help us here to make meninges. What are these? Meninges meaning foldings, the ridges and the grooves. Why are these important? Because these control and these have so many neurons within it. What will the neurons do? Will automatically store the information. So the ridges and the grooves. This section, this entire section, this is cerebrum. Cerebrum region of the forebrain. First one is cerebrum. Then this one that I have darkened a bit, this is hypothalamus. This one is pituitary gland. These are the grooves and these are the ridges. Ridges को हम बोलते हैं gyrus or gyri in plural, and the grooves are called sulcus or sulci. All these are the parts of forebrain. So this covers our forebrain. This section, which is basically the cloud-like and is dotted now, it is the midbrain, the middle of the brain. This one that I have drawn is known as cerebellum. Then is upper one is pons region and the lower one is medulla oblongata. All three are hindbrain. Then from here the spinal cord arises. Means from this particular region, this is the spinal cord. Alright, this is the section of a brain that how does it look like. It has three divisions: forebrain, midbrain, hindbrain. These are the three regions of forebrain. Forebrain has these meninges which has ridges and the grooves. Then it has cerebrum, almost around 70% of the area is cerebrum. Then is midbrain. Then it has hypothalamus and pituitary. Then it has cerebellum, not cerebrum, that we have written here. This is cerebellum, pons varoli, medulla oblongata. These are the parts of the hindbrain. And from here, it's the spinal cord. And midbrain along with the hindbrain with the spinal cord, it forms the brain stem. ये एरिया हमारा ब्रेन स्टेम बनाता है. क्या बनाता है? ब्रेन stem. Okay, now moving to all these parts one after the other. Talking about brain. As already shown in the diagram, divided into forebrain, midbrain, as well as hind brain. Now, forebrain in detail. Forebrain means the greater part of the brain, which forms the greater part. Further, it has three regions. First one is olfactory lobes. These are small club-shaped structures. Why? What are these responsible for? See, these are always covered under the cerebral hemispheres. Remember, हमने ये portion किया था cerebrum का. So both the sides are just the same in brain. तो इनको बोलते हैं दो cerebral hemisphere. These are visible only in the ventral view of the brain, these olfactory lobes. Only in the ventral view. Otherwise, these are fully covered by the cerebral hemispheres. And each lobe is basically having a narrow stalk. And these lobes, these receive impulses from olfactoreceptors, so basically responsible for impulses as well. Then talk about their function, what these olfactory lobes do. They are helpful in receiving impulses, from olfactoreceptors, and relay sense of smell to the temporal region of brain. So what do they act as? Connectors, processing of impulses, passing it on, receiving it and then passing it on to the temporal region so that these can be easily visualized by the brain parts. Then moving to the second part of it. It is cerebral hemispheres or the cerebrum, most complex along with most specialized. See, these two cerebral hemispheres, these are separated from each other with the help of this cerebral fissure. Okay, बीच में क्या होता है? Cerebral fissure होता है, which separates the two cerebral hemispheres. It has large and so many numbers of these meninges, which are gyri and sulci. What are these helpful in? It is basically the area where the neurons are densely packed. Okay, these nerve cells, these are accommodated in large number in these cerebral hemispheres, greatly folded and are present inside. And each cerebral hemisphere is divided by 3D fissures. Fissures होते हैं जिसमें ये further foldings में divide हो जाता है. And then we say there are specific regions also for the kind of stimulus, and along with it has certain functions also to perform. First of all, what it does, it has sensory area. Why sensory? To receive impulse. It also has motor areas. What for? To send instructions. Then what it does? It responds to stimuli also. And the specific regions we are talking about here, these are frontal, temporal, third one is parietal, and fourth one occipital. Now first of all, what the frontal region does? Frontal region, region of speech, facial muscle activities, as well as higher mental activities. Temporal, for auditory reception, that is whatever we hear, it is responsible for hearing. And this one for visual. Occipital is for visual. And parietal for touch, smell, temperature, consciousness, for all these actions, right? Moving to the third part. In this forebrain, the third part that we are talking about is, it is diencephalon. Diencephalon. Where is it present? On the anterior side. If you remember this kind of structure that we have drawn and shaded. Clear? Its roof is called epithalamus. Sides are thalami. Floor is known as hypothalamus. It is a narrow cavity, diencephalon, right? And pituitary gland is attached to it by a stalk. ये जो छोटी सी stalk हमने बनाई है ना, with which this pituitary is attached, this stalk is known as infundibulum. What hypothalamus does? Hypothalamus, it is the control area. What for? Hypothalamus is the control area or the center for hunger, thirst, fatigue, sleep, body temperature, sweating, and emotions. It secretes neurohormones. ये सबसे ज़रूरी पॉइंट है इसका. Secrete neurohormones. Why? Because these neurohormones only regulate the secretions of our body. Whatever the hormones are secreted by the body, its regulation is done by hypothalamus. Clear? Moving to the midbrain. Significantly, a small region that we have observed. So here it controls reflex movements of number 1, head, neck, trunk to visual and auditory reception. Reception means whatever is to be received. Okay. Second is controls the reflexes of eye muscles. What it basically brings in? Change in the pupil size as well as shape of eye lens. Okay, dilation as well as constriction of the pupil whenever we enter a bright light or whenever we enter a dark room. That time, which basically portion of the brain is responsible? The midbrain, because it is controlling the eye muscular movement. Third, moving to the hindbrain. Hindbrain. It further consists of 3 parts. Cerebellum. Do not confuse with cerebrum. That is in the forebrain. This is cerebellum. Cerebellum, second largest part of brain. Basically, it constitutes about nearly 12.5% of the area. Okay, and this cerebellum, along with the other portions, we basically say it maintains posture and balance of the body. That is the main thing it has to do. Maintains posture and balance of the body. Like It brings equilibrium in your body. If we say stand straight, we always give a command, stand straight for the national anthem, or we are picking a pencil which has dropped or fallen on the ground. And how do you balance your body is all because of cerebellum. Then we say pons, pons varoli. Pons varoli is responsible for controlling some aspects of respiration, like whatever are the respiratory problems, and regulating the intake of oxygen, release of carbon dioxide, and how much you have to uh, absorb. That all is related in the pons area. Then is medulla oblongata. Medulla oblongata, it is responsible for the rate of heartbeat, regulating the rate of heartbeat, breathing movements, expansion and contraction of blood vessels, जिसको हम vasoconstriction and vasodilation बोलते हैं, whenever the blood has to be filtered out, blood vessels. Also, it regulates along with that cough, sneeze, vomiting, the activities like cough, sneezing, vomiting, swallowing of food. All these activities are controlled by medulla oblongata. So basically हम क्या कह सकते हैं? It is controlling all the involuntary actions of the body, not at all controlling any of the voluntary acts like posture को balance किया, या फिर आपने observe किया that I'm lifting up my hand. All this is not done here. This is basically the portions which are taken up, which are involuntary in action. So that is the purpose of hindbrain. Now moving to in brain region, whatever we have covered is forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain as the part of this cerebrum, cerebellum, medulla oblongata in forebrain. Now moving to spinal cord. Spinal cord matlab the structure, cylindrical structure which is about 45 centimeter long, 43 in women. थोड़ी सी छोटी होती है ये. Okay, 45 centimeter in men. So what is it? There are 31 pairs of spinal nerves. Function क्या होता है? Function होता है conduct करना. What? Sensory and motor impulses को sensory and motor impulse, and another control center for reflex action that we have already studied. Control center of reflex action. So it reduces brain's work, we can say, because it is not allowing it to work too much. So there are basically pairs of nerves, 31. These are cranial. Right? Then we talk about the peripheral nervous system. But peripheral nervous system and autonomic nervous system, which has its further parts. पेरिफ्री को पहले समझो, ये ब्रेन है जो हमने ड्रॉ किया. अब इस ब्रेन के चारों तरफ क्या होगा? नर्व नेटवर्क तो होगा ना, लाइक ए टेलीफोन एक्सचेंज फ्रॉम वेयर द इलेक्ट्रिसिटी इज सेंट, फ्रॉम वेयर द कनेक्शंस आर सेंट टू वेरियस हाउसेस. ऐसे ही इलेक्ट्रिक मीटर के बाहर होता है एक एरिया होता है जहाँ पर पूरा का पूरा वायरिंग होती है. सो हमारे ब्रेन का भी पेरिफेरल एरिया में सारी वायरिंग है. मीन्स where the voluntary and involuntary actions are taken up and are connected with the central nervous system, that is peripheral, where all the impulses are received from the various organs and are sent back via motor nerves. तो वो ब्रेन के अंदर नर्व नेटवर्क कम बनाते हैं, ब्रेन के पेरिफेरल एरिया में होता है. Moving to this, we see peripheral nervous system. Peripheral has two components, voluntary and involuntary. Voluntary means which is under our control, the control of will. That I want to do it, I will do it, so I will lift up my hand, this way, voluntary. It consists of all the nerves that arise directly from CNS, connecting different parts of the body for the voluntary action. Okay? Involuntary, on the other hand, is not under the control, not under the control of human will. So what will it do? Automatically, it develops from branches of some cranial and spinal nerves and visceral nerves. It develops branches of some cranial, visceral and spinal nerves. What are these? Cranial, visceral and spinal nerves. These are the pair of nerves which are spread in our body from the spinal cord. Cranial, which arise from the brain, ये brain से निकलती हैं and spread to various parts of the head. These cranial are 12 pairs. And when we talk about visceral, visceral are regulatory. That means these only control the activities and these are separate to heart, kidney, ये सब उन organs तक जाता है. These are basically in the autonomic nervous system. इनका कुछ ऐसा पेयर नहीं होता. Spinal, these are mixed. They carry both sensory as well as motor and there are 31 pairs. Visceral का कोई pair concern नहीं होता because these are many and these have to go to kidneys, to heart, to urinary bladder, to blood vessels, to glands and they have to specifically control a set of nerves. तो इनको हम हमेशा ऐसे बोलते हैं visceral मतलब connectors sort of. Spinal are always mixed. Why? Because spinal will receive sensory also, spinal will give way motor also. Cranial are fixed, 12. Now the autonomic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system which works or operates automatically. Automatically जहाँ पे word आ गया ना, it means it is not going to inform us regarding this is what I am going to take as a decision. Once it is done, it is then only we will receive the information that this is done in the body and there is a nerve network of two different sets of nerves. One becomes stimulatory, another is inhibitory. मतलब क्या है? Like if I want to close my eyes and open my eyes, it's a regulatory rhythmic process where closing of my eyes could be stimulatory and opening becomes regulatory and that is controlled by own set of muscles. That means sympathetic and parasympathetic. These visceral nerves, these control the activities of internal organs. Visceral nerves control the activities of internal organs. And these always work in a pair. So we have two pairs. We have a pair of sympathetic and parasympathetic nerves. Okay, these two nerves, these are antagonistic to each other. I'm using the word antagonistic to each other. Means if one system exerts a stimulatory effect, the other one automatically becomes inhibitory in action or regulatory in action. Clear? If one is responsible for increasing the contraction of rate of heartbeat, the other one automatically decreases contraction. If one will constrict the blood vessels, the other one will dilate the blood vessels. If one will constrict the pupil, the other one will dilate it. Understood? This is all about the nervous system. Thank you.